What is up, Buckeye Nation? Flowco here from Ohio State Football with Scarlet and Great, along with my co-founder Sugar Ray Shane Larson, Johnny the Bullet Lunsford. This is Bucks and Brew in the morning. Get your cup of Joe, get hype because Buckeye football is 15 days away. We're so close, guys. We're on the precipice here. We're on the outside looking in. It's coming up soon. It's going to be here before you know it. Just get here 2 more weeks and just get through with the work, just get through your regular life, and then all of a sudden you're going to wake up on that Saturday and realize the Buckeyes play today. I'm excited. You're excited. I know it. We're all hyped, but I'm also hyped specifically about something going on with Ohio State right now. So get your cup of coffee and join me, and we'll talk about it. Um, I went to Wawa this morning because I realized I didn't have any coffee available. I forgot to get some last night, but and I added a little Irish cream to it. I know Johnny hates that, so I had to mention that. But anyway, guys, 15 days till Buckeye football. What are we excited about? We're excited about this defense. This defense is guaranteed to be better. You should get hype about it. You should be excited about it. But first, let's get 125 likes for Buckeyes and Coffee. This is Johnny's baby. I'm going to fill in. Shane's going to fill in every now and again. Well, maybe not Shane. He lives out near the West Coast, but um, we're gonna take some of the burden off Johnny doing this every morning once in a while. So I'm here right now. Johnny will be doing this most of the time though. 125 likes for Buckeyes and Coffee, guys. We're going to talk about the defense. Comment right now, yay or nay, on how you think the defense will be this year. I'm on the yay side. I think they're going to be really good. I'm not even really worried about it per se because there's many reasons. There's a couple reasons. Well, there's many reasons why, but there's a couple specific reasons that we need to mention and talk about. Um, First and foremost, let's talk about the fact that Jim Knowles' defenses from Duke to Oklahoma State, they get better year after year. They improve with time. I mean, when he came in last year, he didn't have a complete understanding of the personnel he had. He just kind of got into it and started working on it and how he could make this defense work with the guys he had. He hadn't been recruiting in a specific way that, years of recruiting that get you the kind of guys you need to make that defense the way you envision it. And I get it. Most people would say, well, you need to fit the personnel to what you can do. I think he did do that to a degree, but we have to put the foundation in place for what he wants to run. And I was actually glad to see Ryan Day kind of just relinquish what his vision was and give it to a guy. He's paying him $2 million a year. He needs to give it to the guy, and the guy needs to deliver. Last year, I think for the most part, he did deliver, except for a couple big games. And don't get me wrong, that does take away from the first year. That does take away from what he accomplished last year. But there's games like, do you think the Notre Dame game, as bad as their offense was, do you think we win that with Kerry Combs as defensive coordinator? I don't. I mean, if it's really a game of last couple of years, if the offense wasn't clicking, the defense very often could not hold a team in check. Not always. There's a couple games here and there you're thinking, oh, maybe they're improving. Well, I think they ended up with 59th, 60th in the country with Matt Barnes and Kerry Combs. I think they were top 20 last year with Jim Knowles. And I'm not suggesting that that should be where we settle for. We need to try to be an elite defense year after year. It's a little harder in today's football game, but it's possible, obviously, especially in the Big Ten where there's not like a ton of great offenses. But we do play some really good teams this year, obviously. But Penn State figures to be really good. The team up north is going to be really good. It's a matter of the defense has to improve, especially when you get into that playoff time. But that's the good news. Jim Knowles' defense year after year improves from like Duke to Oklahoma State. I really expect them to do that here at Ohio State. I mean, like I said, going back, he gets here, doesn't know the personnel. Now he's had a full year with the personnel. They have a full year in his system, in his training methods, and his practice methods. They have a full year getting acclimated to everything. It doesn't happen overnight, especially in a culture of Ohio State where the defense had been bad. It'd been showing cracks since 2016, since Luke Fickell left. And there's been, he's been showing some like signs of like getting worse. And then of course it comes to a head in 2018, 2019. We have a mass amount of talent. Jeff Hafley coaches them, does a great job, and they were an elite defense that year. And I think that's going to play into part why this year is going to be good too. We have a ton of experience on this defense. The super sophomores are now juniors. The Mike Hall, the Tyleek Williams, the Jack Sawyers, the JT Tuimoloau. This is just hype right now. I don't like to buy hype, but you got guys like Kenyatta Jackson Jr. starting to emerge allegedly. I mean, we'll see it if it happens on the field or not. That's something that I can say it's more of an asterisk. You don't know, but we do know that those other guys can play, especially JT. So I don't know that JT is going to be the Chase Young of 2019 or necessarily, but I definitely feel like he's going to take a step up, and I think we should expect that from him to take a step up and get better this year. Because he showed a lot of flashes last year, even outside of the Penn State game where he had arguably the best defensive game from a defensive end we've ever seen. Um, he showed flashes of setting the edge really well, getting pressure and things like that. The linebacker play obviously got better last year, and I don't even think we necessarily had the depth last year that we do this year. I mean, obviously Tommy and Steele are locked in as the linebackers, but CJ Hicks is coming along as after being a true freshman, getting bigger, getting stronger in the program. Looks like he's going to be majorly in the rotation this year, play a lot more. Cody Simon's been a veteran; he's been here forever. Um, I think the depth there is just better than it had been. So you can actually start to rotate linebackers in and out a little bit, and not lose anything on the field. The secondary, I I got to give Walton and Perry credit for how much talent they've brought into the room. Um, Now it remains to see whether or not they're going to coach them into being the BIA again. And I know Chimdi Chekwa, former Ohio State defensive back, is on Twitter who said he actually came out and said the defensive backs are making plays in practice. Well, again, as Johnny and I talked about, that's it. We're talking about practice, right? Who knows? Who knows exactly what they're accomplishing in practice? But that being said, Denzel Burke, we've seen flashes where he's really good. He actually got he got better as the year went on last year. Had a sophomore slump early in the year, obviously. Obviously, you look at Jordan Hancock, has all the talent in the world. He figures to be that next starter. You bring in guys like Davison and Bennetson. I can't say his name correctly, so there's a good hope that makes you laugh a little bit. Um, and Jihad Carter, who are very talented guys, very young guys with a lot of eligibility left. You figure guys like that into the rotation. You got the recruiting has been excellent on defensive backs. Calvin Simpson, Hunt. You got Jariah Brown, who's still there, who showed flashes last year. Obviously Jermaine Matthews figures to be really good. The talent level is there on top of the leadership of people who've been in the system for a year or two now, or for a year now, I should say, a year or two. No one's only been here 1 year. So, and then of course you got the veterans of Lathan Ransom. Sonny Styles is a superstar. He's not a veteran, but he's a superstar, and he actually played really well in the Georgia game. I mean, again, I think he just turned 19 recently, and he was an 18-year-old going into the Georgia game last year, maybe 17 at the time. I don't know what his birthday is, and he played admirably and played well against a team like Georgia. He figures to have a bright future. I mean, we should expect that from him, right? And you add veterans like Lorenzo Styles, who've been in the college game for a couple years. Again, I don't know how much you'll see the field in his first year, but again, the veteran leadership is actually very important. We didn't really have that last year. We were led by mostly sophomores. I mean, other than Tommy Eichenberg and Steel Chambers, we were led by mostly sophomores who you can say Cam Brown is out, but he's often injured. Again, there was only a couple of veterans last year versus this year where the defense is loaded with veterans. In fact, if they have a good year, you end up probably losing quite a few people. Um, I'm actually very excited about combination of a second year coming into the perfect storm for Jim Knowles, the defense to get better, along with all of these guys who have returned and been in that program and been in that system for a year, coming into their prime, their college prime, and their junior seasons. So this is make or break year for a lot of them. And we're going to need it this year because it's going to be tougher. Michigan State figures to get better. Penn State figures to be better. The team up north's still really good, obviously, with the dual running back threat and J.J. McCarthy. Um, they figure to be a pretty good offense. I don't know that they'll ever be prolifically elite, but they do what they do and they do it well. And of course Wisconsin with Luke Fickell, who knows what you're going to see with them, but it's going to be at Wisconsin. So there's a tough. Shane's going to talk about the schedule. There's a several game stretch where it's going to be pretty tough. Maryland's offense is obviously pretty good. Defense has to be better this year. And I think it's guaranteed to be better if you combine the facts that Jim Knowles is another year in the system. He's proven track record of getting better year after year on top of the veteran leadership now that we have on the defense. It's been in his system for a year. So I'm actually excited to see this, especially when you add in the dynamic young talent of a Sonny Styles and CJ Hicks. I'm not saying those Sonny Styles will start, but I'm not. CJ won't start, but he's going to play. And then we're seeing the guys, those 5-star guys, the Jack Sawyers of the world, the JTs of the world, come into their own. Jack Sawyer's finally put back on the defensive line after playing the Jack position. It's exciting to me to see what we do with them. Um, I can't go based off what we hear about in practice, right? I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sit here and say, well, look, they're jamming up the offense and I don't care. The offensive line is still makeshift right now and still trying to figure it out. But I can get excited about the prospect of the fact that we also have a 2 to 3 game. We have a couple games warm up until Notre Dame. And Notre Dame figures to be better as well on offense. They got Sam Hartman at quarterback, and it's going to be in South Bend. We'll see what happens there, but because they got obviously Tommy Rees left and the golden child, and now they got a new quarterback. We'll see how that transpires with them for the first couple of games. But I like the fact that defense is not being thrown to the wolves right away as well. They could also show the ability to get better. I'm not terrified of Indiana's offense. Okay. So we'll see what goes on with that, but we'll get a clear picture whether or not they can be dominant early on. Because if you go against the Indianas of the world, you need to show that we're going to be a dominant defense. We're going to be a very good defense. And again, I would also caution Buckeye Nation, and this is asking a lot. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and sometimes y'all are gonna make me put whiskey in that. The Twitter world of Buckeye Nation, a touchdown drive or whatever happens, all of a sudden it's meltdown time, same old defense. And then the game ends up being 45-7. But remember that one touchdown drive they allowed early on in the first quarter, same defense. And people hang on that and they can't move on from that. Like, well, yeah, but the rest of the game they allowed like 150 yards. They played really great. Well, yeah, but that one touchdown drive, let yourself understand that there's going to be slip ups, there's going to be mess ups, there's going to be bugs that you have to knock out of the, you have to get cobwebs out, you have to work the bugs out of the defense every now and again. But I actually think you're going to come out and see the defense ball, and I think they're going to play tough, and I think they're going to play fast, and I think it's going to be the best defense we've had since 2019 because it's set up to be that, like I've said before. It's going to be exciting. I'm excited about it. You need to get hype about it and be excited about it. I just think the defense is going to be extremely good. So, you know what? Give me a like if you think the defense will be better. Comment if you think they'll be worse. And by worse, I mean only as good as last year, because that is not how the defense needs to be. They need to get better year after year. If they can't get any better, then they need to at least maintain an elite status, which they are far from right now. They're not elite. I'd say they're on the verge of being very good to great, but not necessarily elite. Like Georgia's elite. Right now, we're hovering in that above average to good range, I'd say. But again, it's to be expected from a first-year defensive coordinator. I don't know why. When do we get in a society where everybody's got to have it right away? So it takes time to build it sometimes, especially coming off of a culture of not having great defenses for the last 4 or 5 out of the last 6 years or whatever. So go ahead, but tell me. I want you to tell me up front why you don't think the defense will be as good. What don't you trust about it? I know my buddy Tom over here right now, he'd give me the reasons why about Jim Knowles' system. He has some reservations about it. Okay, that's fair. Let me know in the comment section. Appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed your coffee this morning. But I hope I gave you a little bit of hope for the defense. Going into this year, I want you to be as hype as I'm about it. I'm actually excited to see the defensive attack. In fact, I hope we kick off first game because I want to see that defense on the field. Now, I mean, granted, it doesn't take a lot of guts to be that confident against Indiana, but still, that's what I'm hoping for. So, anyway, guys, as always, man, we wish you the best. We can't wait to see you again. Shane will be out with a video here pretty soon, probably over the weekend, to give you some more Buckeye content. Ohio State football will hear Scarlet and Great right here on YouTube. Comment if you have anything to say to us. We're idiots, whatever. I don't care. We will only read what you have to say about it. We trust me. Johnny shows me the comments all the time, so it is definitely something we read. Like the video if you like what you saw. If we earned your subscription, subscribe to the video, share it with a friend. We appreciate you guys. As always, we're looking for 6,000 subscriptions by the season start. We're kind of close. We think we can get there with your help. Appreciate you guys as always. Goodbye. God bless. And of course, Go Bucks. As if that needs to be said. Go Bucks.